I never thought the man who built empires from nothing would crumble at the sight of his own son's truth. "You're no son of mine," Dad spat, his voice like shattered glass across the oak-paneled study of our Pacific Heights mansion, the words slicing deeper than any boardroom betrayal. In that instant, as rain hammered the bay windows like accusations from the gods, I realized love in our family was just another asset to liquidate, mine included. That was the night everything fractured, 6 months ago, but it feels like yesterday's fresh wound. I'm Jordan Hale, 24, the invisible heir to Hale Industries, a Fortune 500 juggernaut in tech and real estate that Dad clawed from the dirt of Silicon Valley startups into a gleaming conglomerate. Growing up in San Francisco's fog-shrouded elite, I learned early that success meant swallowing secrets whole. Mine? I was gay, and when I finally spat it out, over a tense family dinner with crystal glasses clinking like ticking bombs, Dad didn't just reject me. He erased me. "You're confused, Jordan," he'd said first, his steel-gray eyes narrowing behind wire-rimmed glasses, the same ones he'd worn negotiating billion-dollar deals. Mom, elegant in her Chanel sheath, had frozen mid-sip of Chardonnay, her manicured hand trembling. My younger sister, Eliza, 16 and all wide-eyed rebellion, had whispered, "Dad, that's not fair." But he steamrolled her like a quarterly report. "This isn't who we raised you to be. Get help, or get out." No therapy session could fix what he saw as a flaw in the family brand. By dawn, my bags were packed, Uber waiting curbside, and the doorman, loyal old Mr. Patel, slipped me a 20 with a sad nod, like I was just another transient kid fleeing the gilded cage. I crashed on a friend's couch in the Mission District, the heart of San Francisco's gritty, rainbow-veined underbelly. Austin was that friend, the one who'd known my secret since we were awkward freshmen at Lowell High, bonding over stolen glances at the swim team and mixtapes of the Killers. He was everything I wasn't, broad-shouldered from years of hauling kegs at dive bars, with sun-kissed skin from weekend hikes in Marin, and a laugh that could disarm a room full of tech brothers. "Crash here as long as you need, man," he'd said, clapping my shoulder a beat too long, his hazel eyes lingering in that way that made my pulse stutter. We'd danced around this for years, flirty texts during college at UC Berkeley, late-night confessions over cheap IPAs, but fear of losing the friendship had kept us in limbo. Now, with Dad's rejection echoing like a bad echo in my skull, limbo shattered. 2 weeks in, after a shift at the coffee shop where I slung lattes to venture capitalists who didn't recognize the disheveled barista as Richard Hale's firstborn, I came home to Austin's tiny studio apartment smelling of garlic and hope. He was at the stove, sleeves rolled up on his faded UC Berkeley hoodie, stirring pasta like it was a love potion. "Rough day?" he asked, not turning, but I could hear the concern threading his voice. I dropped my apron on the futon, the weight of the day crashing down. "Saw Dad's face on a billboard today. Hale Industries, building tomorrow's legacy." "Yeah, right. Excluding the gay parts, apparently." My voice cracked, and Austin shut off the burner, crossing the linoleum in 2 strides. He pulled me into a hug that smelled of basil and, boy, solid, unyielding. "You're not broken, Jordan. You're the best damn thing that ever happened to this city, whether he sees it or not." His arms around me felt like the first safe harbor in a storm. I pulled back just enough to meet his gaze, the air thick with what we'd both ignored for too long. "Austin, I can't keep pretending." The words tumbled out, raw and reckless. He didn't flinch. Instead, his thumb brushed my cheek, calloused from guitar strings, and he leaned in. Our first kiss was tentative, like testing fog over the bay, soft lips, hesitant tongues, tasting of salt from unshed tears. But it ignited something fierce, a spark that burned away the loneliness. By the time we broke apart, breathless against the fridge magnets of Yosemite sunsets, I knew this was real. This was mine. We fell into a rhythm after that, Austin and me against the world, or at least against the Hale shadow. He worked construction gigs, saving for community college classes in graphic design, dreaming of illustrating queer stories for indie presses. I juggled barista shifts with freelance coding. Ironic, since Dad's empire was built on algorithms I'd helped debug as a teen. Nights were ours. Walks along the Embarcadero, hands brushing until they intertwined, stolen moments in Golden Gate Park, where we'd picnic on sourdough and debate Foucault over thermoses of coffee. Austin made me laugh, quoting lines from Brokeback Mountain to poke at my melodrama. But he saw the fractures too. Your dad's a dinosaur in a Tesla world, he'd say. One day, he'll wake up and regret torching his own kid. But regret? That word haunted me. Dad hadn't called once. No texts, no emails from his assistant. Eliza snuck messages through a burner app. He's a mess, Jord. Miss you. Don't give up. Mom sent anonymous Venmo drops. 500 here, a grand there, like hush money for her silence. It stung, but I built walls. Austin helped, his optimism a balm. We even went public at a Castro Street Pride afterparty, dancing under neon flags to Chapel Roan, his hand firm on my waist. For the first time, I felt seen, not as the Hale heir, but as Jordan, the guy with a crooked smile and a heart too big for boardrooms. Then came the first crack in our fragile peace. It was a crisp October morning, fog rolling off the bay like cigarette smoke. I was scrolling LinkedIn over oatmeal when a notification pinged, an invite to the Hale Industries annual gala. Black tie, at the Legion of Honor, overlooking the Pacific. Sender, Eliza, you have to come. Please. It's important. My stomach twisted. Last place I'd want to be, rubbing elbows with Dad's sycophants, but Eliza's plea tugged. Austin, sensing my hesitation over breakfast, squeezed my knee under the Formica table. Go if it feels right. Show him you're unbreakable. I'll be your wingman. Moral support via text. I RSVP'd yes, heart pounding like a bass drop. The gala was a spectacle. Chandeliers dripping from frescoed ceilings. Waiters circulating caviar blinis and vintage scotch. I borrowed a tux from Austin's buddy, a thrift store find that fit like it was tailored for rebellion. Stepping into the marble foyer, I felt every eye slide over me, whispers rippling. Is that? No way, after the family drama. Dad held court near the grand staircase, silver fox in a bespoke Tom Ford, laughing with senators and CEOs. He spotted me across the room, his smile faltering like a glitch in his perfect facade. Jordan, he said, approaching with a glass in hand, voice low to avoid the crowd. No warmth, just calculation. Didn't expect you. Eliza hovered behind him, shooting me a desperate glance. Mom, radiant in emerald silk, air-kissed my cheeks but wouldn't meet my eyes. Family event, I replied, chin up. Figured I'd crash it properly this time. The barb landed. His jaw tightened. We small-talked mergers and markets, the air electric with unsaid barbs. Then Eliza pulled me aside, into a shadowed alcove overlooking the crashing waves. Dad's sick, Jord. Pancreatic. Docs give him months. He won't tell anyone. Says it'll tank the stock. But he talks about you. In his sleep, even. Regrets pushing you out. The world tilted. Cancer? My indomitable father, felled by something invisible, like my own hidden truths? Rage bubbled. Why now? Why this half-buried olive branch? He regrets nothing, I hissed. He disowned me. Eliza's eyes welled. He's scared. Of losing control. Of you being. You. Out there without his shadow. Please, talk to him. I stormed back to the ballroom, spotting Dad now alone by the balcony doors. The confrontation exploded like 4th of July fireworks over the bay. Sick? And you thought excluding me was the play? I'm your son, not a liability. He recoiled, then fired back. You chose this path, Jordan. Parading your lifestyle. How do I build a legacy with that stain? The word stain hit like acid. I laughed, bitter and broken. Legacy? Yours or mine? I'm done being your ghost. I left him there, face ashen, the gala's glamour curdling around us. Austin was waiting in our apartment, takeout Thai steaming on the counter. I collapsed into his arms, sobbing the story. He held me through the night, whispering, "You're enough. For me, for Eliza, for the world." But doubt crept in. Was Dad's illness a ploy? A secret to reel me back? And what of Austin? Did he sign up for this hail hurricane? Our kisses grew urgent, laced with desperation, as if loving harder could seal the leaks. Winter descended, gray and unrelenting. Dad's treatments started quietly, chemo disguised as business trips to Mayo Clinic. Eliza kept me looped in, smuggling photos of him frilier, grayer. I wrestled with forgiveness, Therapy sessions in No Valley unpacking the abandonment like old suitcases. Austin stood by, but tension simmered. His construction hours stretched, mine at the startup incubator. Ironic gig, pitching apps to VCs, left us ships passing in the night. One argument erupted over Christmas. I'd skipped his family's potluck for a neutral coffee with Mom. You're still chasing their approval, he accused, voice raw. What about us? It's not that simple, I yelled, the flat echoing with our hurt. He stormed out, doors slamming like finality. Hours later, he returned, apologetic, pulling me close. I love you, Jord. Don't let them steal that. Love. The word hung, new and terrifying. We said it then, tangled in sheets that smelled of him, cedar and sweat, a vow against the chaos. But secrets fester. In January, a tabloid bombshell dropped. Hale Air's lavish coming out bash, or breakdown. Photos of me at Pride, Austin's arm around my waist, splashed across page 6. Dad's PR machine spun it as youthful indiscretion, but the stock dipped 3%. Calls flooded. From Eliza, frantic. From Mom, pleading a family summit. I agreed, meeting them at a private Nob Hill club, fog muting the city below. Dad looked spectral, suit hanging loose. This. Publicity. It's killing us. No, I'm sorry. Just damage control. I snapped. Killing you? Try being erased for loving a man. Try building a life from scraps. He leaned forward, voice a rasp. I did what I thought was right. For the family. For you. To spare you the wolves. Wolves? The irony burned. Then the bomb. Your grandfather. He was like you. Hit it till the grave. Died alone. I won't let that be your story. Grandpa Hale, the stoic founder? Gay? The revelation cracked my world. All Dad's rage, a mirror of his own buried shame? Understanding dawned, but didn't erase the pain. Too late, I whispered. You've already written my story without me. I left, head spinning, straight to Austin. Bursting into the apartment, I found him on the couch, phone in hand, scrolling the tabloid. His face crumpled. Jord, there's more. I got an offer. From Hale Industries. Junior exec, benefits, the works. They reached out through a recruiter, said your dad's reconsidering family ties. Betrayal hit like a gut punch. You applied? Behind my back? He stammered, no. It just came in. But stability, Jord. For us. Meds if things go south, a future. The room spun. His ambition tangled with my wounds. Was this love or opportunism? Get out. I choked. Before you become another Hale ghost. He left, duffel in hand, eyes pleading. The silence after was deafening, broken only by Eliza's call. Dad's collapse. ICU at UCSF. I drove through pouring rain, wipers slashing like accusations. In the sterile hall, Mom clutched my hand. Eliza sobbed. Dad, tubed and pale, stirred as I entered. His eyes fluttered open. Mine, reflected back, haunted. Jordan, he croaked, hand twitching toward the bed rail. Forgive me. The words I'd craved, now hollow. I gripped his fingers, the tycoon's hand frail as paper. Not yet, but I'll stay. For Eliza. For Mom. For the boy I'd been, starving for this. Austin texted at dawn. I'm an idiot. Didn't apply. Just scared. Love you. Come home. Tears blurred the screen. Home. Where was that now? As spring thawed the bay, Dad rallied. Enough for hospice at the mansion. I moved back, not as heir, but caretaker. Austin visited, tentative coffees turning to quiet dinners, rebuilding brick by brick. One evening, on the balcony where Dad once banished me, Austin knelt, not with a ring, but a sketch. Us, entwined under the bridge, labeled our legacy. No empires, he said. Just this. Dad watched from his wheelchair, silent. Days later, as cherry blossoms dusted the garden, he called me to his study. The board. They know. About Grandpa. About you. A folder slid across the desk. Well, revisions, shares in my name. Not pity. Pride. Build it your way. He passed that June, under a sky streaked sunset gold. The funeral was a circus, suits and sobs. But in the cemetery's quiet, Austin's hand in mine anchored me. Whispers followed. Regret from execs who'd shunned me. Toasts to the lost son who'd returned unbroken. My next move? I sold my shares. not to rivals, but to a queer-led nonprofit, funding youth shelters in the Castro. Hale Industries rebranded. Hale Forward, Inclusive Tomorrows. The board balked, stocks wobbled, but Eliza, now interim CEO, stood firm. Dad would have hated it, but he'd love you more. Regret rippled. Dad's unspoken apologies in his final gaze. Austin's in our mended vows, mine in the years lost to fear. But in the fog-lifted mornings, walking Austin to his design studio, I felt it. Redemption, not in billions, but in the man beside me. Love, the ultimate empire, built not on secrets, but truths laid bare. The months after Dad's funeral blurred into a haze of legal briefs and therapy marathons, but Austin's presence was the steady hum beneath it all. We'd upgraded from his studio to a one-bedroom in the Castro, rainbow flags fluttering from fire escapes, the air alive with coffee roasts and distant drag queen laughter. It was our first real home, walls papered in Austin's sketches, abstract swirls of blues and golds, capturing the Bay's moods. No hails allowed, he'd joked on move-in day, taping a do not disturb sign over the doorframe. But ghosts lingered, especially mine. I'd wake at 3 a.m., sweat-soaked from dreams of boardrooms turning to courtrooms, Dad's voice echoing, "Stain." Austin would stir, pulling me close without a word, his heartbeat a metronome resetting mine. "You're safe," he'd murmur, fingers tracing lazy circles on my back. Sex wasn't the firestorm it could have been. We kept it gentle, exploratory, like mapping uncharted coastlines. A kiss on the collarbone here, a shared shower there, building trust over release. It was intimate in the American way, vulnerable, unhurried, laced with I love yous whispered like state secrets. Eliza thrived at the helm, her Wharton smarts tempered by a fierce protectiveness. We'd meet weekly at Tartine Bakery, flaky croissants crumbling as we dissected company emails. "The old guard's plotting," she'd say, eyes sharp behind cat-eye glasses. "They want to claw back your shares, call it fiduciary duty." I'd laugh, but it nod. Selling to the nonprofit had been my middle finger to the machine. A $200 million infusion into LGBTQ+ centers from Seattle to Miami, naming the San Francisco flagship the Richard Hale Youth Haven. Ironic justice. Dad's fortune sheltering the kids he deemed unworthy. Pushback came swift. Anonymous leaks to the Chronicle. Hale airs radical sell-off. Empire in jeopardy? Pundits on CNBC decried it as woke capitalism gone mad, while queer activists hailed me as a folk hero. Protests erupted outside Hale Tower, suits versus signs, a microcosm of America's soul split. Austin and I joined a counter-rally, linking arms with leather-clad veterans and wide-eyed teens. "This is your legacy," he yelled over chants, his voice hoarse with pride. But doubt whispered, was I dismantling Dad's dream or fulfilling it? The real storm brewed in hidden currents. One rainy Tuesday, rifling through Dad's study for tax docs, I unearthed a locked drawer, brass key taped under the blotter like a bad spy novel. Inside, letters, yellowed and bundled with twine. Grandpa Hale's handwriting, looping and precise. "Dearest Richard, the nights grow longer without you. Remember Tahoe 68, the pines whispering our names." My blood ran cold. Grandpa's lover, Dad, as a closeted teen? No, the addressee was Uncle Theo, Dad's older brother, dead in a hiking accident at 22. The pieces clicked. Dad's rage, a projection of his own grief, his own stain buried with Theo in the family plot. I confronted Mom over tea at the Fairmont, overlooking the bay's choppy gray. She stirred her Earl Grey, lips thinning. "You weren't supposed to find those." Her voice, usually velvet, cracked like fine china. "Your father loved Theo more than brothers should. When Theo fell, pushed, some say, by ranch hands who found them out, Richard shattered, built walls higher than Hale Tower. That's why he fought you so hard. Feared history repeating. Pushed, murder?" The revelation clawed at me. Dad, not just homophobe, but survivor of fratricide veiled as tragedy. Empathy warred with fury. Why hide it? Let it poison us all. I drove to Austin's studio in a daze, bursting through the door mid-sketch. He dropped his charcoal, smudging a half-formed face. Mine, I realized. "Jord, what's wrong?" I spilled it all, letters trembling in my hands. He read silently, jaw set. This explains everything. And nothing. He pulled me onto the worn leather stool, our knees knocking. Your dad's pain doesn't excuse his cruelty, but it humanizes him. Like you, flawed, fighting. We sat there, the loft's exposed bricks absorbing our silence, until his lips found my temple. What now? Confront the grave? Instead, I chose truth's slow burn. Eliza and I commissioned a podcast, Echoes of Hale, interviewing queer elders from the 60s, weaving in anonymized tales of lost loves like Theo's. It went viral, downloads spiking like Tesla stock. Backlash followed, death threats in my inbox, board members resigning in droves. One night, after a particularly vile voicemail, freak air ruining America, I shattered. Curled on the kitchen floor, sobs racking, Austin knelt, cradling my head. Hey, warrior, this is the cost of light, and you're lighting it up. His words anchored me, but the strain showed. Austin's designs landed a gig with an indie press, cover art for a memoir on AIDS-era San Francisco, but he poured nights into it, coming home hollow-eyed. We'd argue over takeout, me buried in nonprofit reports, him sketching till dawn. You're turning into him. He'd snap once, regretting it instantly. The workaholic ghost. I'd retreat to the balcony, staring at the fog-veiled bridge, wondering if love could weather inheritance's weight. Summer brought the unexpected climax. The board, cornered by plummeting shares, called an emergency vote. Oust Eliza. Revert my shares. Restore stability. Leaks suggested collusion. Dad's old VP, Harlan Crow, a fossil with tobacco-stained teeth and Reagan-era grudges, pulling strings. Eliza texted at midnight, meeting tomorrow. They have numbers. Panic surged. Austin, sensing it, canceled his client call. We fight. Together. Dawn found us at a Bernal Heights diner, plotting over huevos rancheros. Expose Harlan. Austin urged, maple syrup dripping from his fork. Those letters, Theo's story. Tie it to the company's values. Risky. Defamatory, even. But as coffee steamed between us, resolve hardened. I leaked the podcast script to a friendly reporter at the Bay Guardian, framing Harlan's homophobia as echo of 60s hate. By noon, headlines screamed, Hail boardroom brawl. Ghosts of the past haunt power grab. The vote derailed. Harlan, red-faced, stormed out mid-session. Eliza held, shares intact. But victory tasted bittersweet. That evening, rifling victory emails, I found it. A buried CC from Austin's recruiter months back. Jordan Hale reference, strong candidate. Hale connection could fast-track. He'd forwarded my resume, subtly, proudly, to Harlan's team. Before the betrayal fight. A gesture of faith, now twisted by context. Confrontation hit like a Mission Street bus. You shop me to them? I roared, phone shaking. Austin paled, backing against the fridge. It was before the gala, before a solid. Thought it'd bridge you back, show Dad your worth. Bridge? Or ladder for himself. Hurt blinded me. You used me. Like they all do. He reached, but I flinched. Jord, no. Out. The word echoed, final as Dad's disownment. He left, rain-slicked streets swallowing him. Alone, I howled. Phoned Eliza, who came with wine and wisdom. He's not Dad. He's scared too, of losing you to this war. She was right, but pride barricaded. Weeks crawled. The nonprofit boomed, groundbreaking for the Haven, kids touring with wide eyes. Publicly, I shone. TEDx talk on inheritance redefined, applause thundering. Privately, I fractured. Therapy unpacked it. Abandonment schema, looping like a glitchy app. Austin's texts piled unread. Miss your laugh. Haven update. Your vision's saving lives. I deleted, then undelete. Heart a battlefield. The turning point came unbidden. October fog, a year post-rejection. I volunteered at the Haven's open house, guiding tours, sharing my story sans the gore. A teen, maybe 16, cornered me in the lounge, spiked hair, braces glinting. My dad's like yours. Says I'm a phase. How'd you? Not break. His vulnerability mirrored mine at that age. I did break, I admitted. But I rebuilt, with people who saw me whole. Austin's face flashed, his sketches, his steadiness. I texted him that night. Coffee? Neutral ground. We met at Phil's, pour over, no frills. He looked wrecked, unshaven, hoodie frayed. I sold the story, he blurted first. My designs for the Haven's murals. Didn't want credit. Just wanted to help. Tears pricked. Why? Because I love you. Flaws and fights and all. American dream style. Messy, worth it. Laughter bubbled, breaking the ice. We talked. Hours spilling regrets, revelations. Theo's letters, Harlan's ouster, the board's uneasy truce. By sunset, walking the Castro's murals, hands brushed, then clasped. Forgive, he asked, voice small. Not yet, I echoed Dad's bedside plea. But let's try. Fall deepened, leaves carpeting Golden Gate Park in rust and gold, mirroring the tentative thaw between Austin and me. We didn't dive back in head first. No grand gestures, no Vegas elopement like those rom-coms we binged on lazy Sundays. Instead, it was small stitches. Group hangs with his artist crew at Zeitgeist, where I'd nurse a PBR and watch him light up over charcoal techniques. My nonprofit galas, where he'd stand awkward in chinos, charming donors with tales of his abuela's taqueria in the Excelsior. You're my +1 to the revolution, I'd tease, and he'd grin, that lopsided smile cracking my defenses. Eliza noticed, cornering me post-Thanksgiving. Our first family meal sans Dad, turkey carved in the mansion's echoing dining room. Mom hovered, passing cranberry sauce like peace offerings. Eliza, across the mahogany, raised a brow. Austin's back? Good. You need that fire. She meant it. Her way of saying I'd dimmed without him, buried in spreadsheets and solitude. The meal was civil. Toasts to Dad's complications, sidestepping the queer undercurrents. But as pie steamed, Mom leaned in. He'd be proud, Jordan. Of the Haven. Of you. Her eyes, blue like mine, shimmered. Progress, fragile as spun sugar. Yet conflicts simmered beneath the surface calm. The board, chastened but scheming, floated a merger, hail with a conservative conglomerate, streamlining values. Code for diluting the queer initiatives. Eliza fought it in closed doors, but leaks suggested insider sabotage. Harlan's allies, perhaps, nursing grudges. Paranoia crept. I double-locked my laptop, scanned for bugs and jest. Austin laughed it off over late-night ramen. Conspiracy brain. Next you'll say the fog's a hail psyop. But his levity masked worry. His freelance gigs dried up amid the scandal's chill, forcing him back to construction, dawn calls leaving him bone-tired. Our first real test came mid-December, a snow-dusted rarity blanketing the city. The Haven's holiday fundraiser, black tie optional, drag queens emceeing, proceeds for crisis counseling. I emceed, nerves jangling under stage lights in the Mission Theater. Austin, in a thrifted velvet blazer, clapped loudest from the front row. Midway, a heckler, suited, reeking of entitlement, shouted from the balcony, "Hail's blood money, tainting our kids." Security dragged him out, but the venom lingered, whispers turning heads my way. Backstage, I unraveled, pacing, fists clenched. Austin found me in the green room, mirror fogged from my breaths. Hey, breathe. That guy's just noise. But I whirled. Noise. It's my life. Dad's ghost, the board's knives, everyone wants a piece. He stepped close, hands on my shoulders, grounding. Then let me carry some. We're a team, Jord. Not solo quests. His eyes, earnest hazel, pulled me under. I kissed him then, fierce, forgiving, the room spinning away. It wasn't passion's blaze, but connection's quiet forge, lips mapping apologies, hands clutching like lifelines. We left arm in arm, snowflakes melting on our lashes, hailing a cab to Twin Peaks for the view. Up top, city lights sprawling like a circuit board, we talked futures. What if we leave? He mused, breath clouding. Portland. Or LA. Sun. Space. No hail haunts. Tempting. But roots tugged. Eliza's battles. The Haven's kids. Not yet, I said, leaning into him. This is home. Messy hours. New Year's brought the betrayal's echo, a deeper cut. Eliza called at midnight, fireworks popping over the bay. Harlan's got dirt. On you. Photos, from Pride, twisted to look. Compromising. He's threatening the merger veto unless we fold. Compromising? My mind raced. Austin and me, dancing close? Innocent, but spun malicious. Rage boiled. Who fed him the shots? Paparazzi? Or closer? I confronted the source alone, storming Harlan's waterfront penthouse, glass walls mocking the bay's freedom. He answered in silk pajamas, scotch in hand, smirk like a shark. Jordan Hale. To what do I owe? I didn't mince. The photos. Back off. He chuckled, pouring a second glass. Boy, your father's folly lives. That sell off? Suicide. Join us. Reclaim your throne. Or these hit the wires. Heirs debauchery. Legacy in tatters. Debauchery. The word ignited. You mean love? Try that on for bigotry, Harlan. I lunged for his phone. Stupid, reckless. But he sidestepped, dialing security. As goons hauled me out, he hissed. Your kind destroys. Always has. Bruised ribs, pride dented. I Ubered home. Austin waiting with ice packs and fury. You went alone? Damn it, Jord. His hands shook, wrapping me. This ends now. We strategized dawn lit. Go public, preempt the smear. I drafted a statement. Raw, unfiltered. Love isn't leverage. Harlan's hate is the real scandal. Austin polished it, his artist's eye sharpening the prose. By noon, it blasted. Twitter storms, ally retweets from Glad. Harlan's merger crumbled. He resigned in disgrace, muttering cancel culture to Fox News. Victory, Pyrrhic. Threats escalated, my inbox a war zone. The misunderstanding cut deepest, though. In the fallout, Austin withdrew. Nights at the studio, claims of deadlines. One February eve, coming home to cold takeout, I found a note. Need space. This war's consuming you. Us. Space. After all, heart splintering, I tracked him to a No Valley bar, pool cues clacking like accusations. He was with his ex, Marcus, the brooding sculptor from college, all tats and tousled curls. Laughing. Close. The scene blurred, me bursting in. What the hell? Voices rose, barflies staring. Austin flushed. Jord, it's nothing. Catching up. Marcus smirked. Old times sake. Old times. Betrayal's knife twisted. Was this payback for my pride? Or truth unearthed? I fled into the drizzle, blocks blurring, chest heaving. Home alone, I tore through his sketches. Us, idealized, ripping one in rage, regret instant. Eliza found me at 2 a.m., pounding the door. Talk. Over herbal tea, it poured. Harlan, the note, Marcus. She sighed. Austin scared Jord. Of losing himself in your orbit. Like I almost did in Dad's. Wisdom stung. Call him. Before misunderstanding metastasizes. I did, voicemail first. I'm sorry. For the fight. For pulling you into this. But don't run to ghosts. He showed at dawn, eyes red-rimmed. Marcus? A shoulder. Nothing more. You're it, the one. We collapsed on the couch, exhaustion bonding us. I pushed too hard, he admitted. Forgot we're human, not heroes. Forgiveness flowed, tentative, therapy joint sessions now, unpacking codependency like tangled Christmas lights. Spring bloomed defiant. Cherry trees lining Market Street, Haven expansions announced. But the climax brewed in shadows. May Gala at the De Young, Hale's Atonement event, queer artists showcased. Austin debuted a mural, fractured glass mending into a rainbow bridge, symbolizing us. Standing ovation, my chest swelled. Then, mid-toast, a courier. Envelope, no return. Inside, Dad's final letter unsealed. Jordan, if you're reading this, I've lost the fight. No, I saw you, son. At the end. Your strength, your love, not stain, but salvation. Forgive the man who couldn't. Build boldly. Love, Dad. Tears streamed, Gala blurring. Austin, sensing, whisked me to the museum's garden, sculptures looming like guardians. Under moonlit palms, I read aloud, voice breaking. He held me, silent till the end. He saw you. Finally, the weight lifted, not gone, but shared. Yet decisions loomed, difficult as splitting atoms. The board offered me CEO, post Eliza's sabbatical. Power's siren call, reshape from within. Or walk. Austin's mural whispered choice. What feels right? He asked, over post-gala diner fries. Us, I said. The Haven. Real change, not corner offices. Resignation drafted, heart steady. Summer unfurled like a banner of possibility. Heat waves shimmering off the bay as Austin and I navigated the uncharted waters of our recommitted rhythm. We took weekends away, Napa Vineyards, where we'd bike rolling hills, collapsing in B&B sheets scented with lavender, talking dreams till dawn. No grand proposals, just quiet commitments. His key on my chain, my sketches in his portfolio. It was the humanistic heart of us, flawed humans choosing each other daily, against America's backdrop of ambition and ache. Eliza jetted to Europe for her sabbatical. Paris cafes, emails bubbly with Eiffel boardrooms, leaving me as interim liaison. The board grumbled but complied. My resignation loomed like a guillotine. But first, unfinished business. Harlan's ouster revealed tendrils, payoffs to 60s informants, silencing Theo's truth. With Eliza's blessing, I sued, not for blood, but records unsealed. Courtrooms in Civic Center echoed with depositions. Ranch hands, gray and guilty, confessing whispers of that fatal shove. They were boys in love, one croaked. We panicked. The settlement funded scholarships, Theo Hale Memorial, for rural queer youth escaping shadows like Dad's youth in Idaho dust. Press ate it up. Hale legacy, from closet to classroom. Cynics called it PR. I called it penance. Austin illustrated the launch. Faded photos of Theo, smiling defiant, morphed into modern kids with backpacks and pride pins. Unveiled at the Haven, it drew tears, mine included, from a father there with his trans son. Thank you, he choked, gripping my hand. For making room. But high tides bring undertows. August scorched, and with it, a ghost from Austin's past. Marcus, fresh off a breakup, crashing on our couch, just a week. Austin agreed before asking. People pleasers curse. Tension crackled. Marcus's barbs over breakfast, still playing activist Jord. Austin's awkward deflections. Nights, I'd lie awake, jealousy gnawing like foghorns. He's history, Austin assured, but doubt festered, misunderstanding's old scar. The explosion came at a block party, Folsom Street fair light, all leather and laughter under string lights. Marcus flirted shameless, arm draping Austin mid-conversation. I snapped, pulling him aside. What's this? Second chance. Voices escalated, neighbors gawked. Austin's face crumpled. Jealousy's ugly on you, Jord. Marcus is gone, emotionally. You're mine now. But the seed planted. Was I enough, sans empire? He moved out next day, temporarily, to his sisters in the hate. The apartment echoed, sketches half-finished like abandoned promises. I threw myself into work. Haven expansions to Oakland, therapy groups swelling. Eliza called from Rome. Space heals, but don't let fear win. Remember Dad, secrets killed him slow. Her words pierced. I drove to the cemetery, Dad's stone stark under cypress, Richard Hale. Builder. Father. You hid love. I whispered, grass damp. Don't let me. Reconciliation brewed in crisis. September equinox, a Haven kid, 17, runaway named Kai. Overdosed, rushed to SF General. I sat vigil in the ER's fluorescent hell, Austin arriving unbidden, coffee in hand. Heard from a volunteer. How's he? We waited together, wordless at first, then spilling. My insecurities, his overwhelm. Marcus was a mirror, he admitted. Showing what I left, chaos. You? Steady C. Kai stabilized by dawn. We hugged him awake, promises exchanged. That sparked the high wire act. My resignation presser, City Hall steps, pride flags snapping in wind. Camera's word, Austin at my side, hand in mine. Hale Industries taught me power's illusion, I said, voice steady. True legacy, lifting others. I'm stepping away, to the streets, the shelters. Join me. Gasps, applause, stocks dipped, but queer cheers drowned it. Harlan's faction howled on cable. Boys' folly. But Eliza texted, proud sis. Europe's toasting you. The unexpected climax crashed that night. Anonymous tip to my phone. Video, grainy, time-stamped months back. Austin, in a bar with Marcus, kissing. Not the block party. Earlier. Heart pulverized, I confronted him at the loft, screen glowing accusatory. Before the fight? You lied. He blanched, replaying. Jord, wait. That's edited. Deepfake shit. Harlan's revenge. Panic clawed. We scoured metadata. Austin's tech-savvy unveiling the hack. Frames spliced from old footage. Marcus's face morphed. Fury redirected. We traced it to Harlan's PI, a sleazy op in the Tenderloin. Confrontation redux. Me, Austin, Eliza via video, storming his hideout. Deep fakes. Low even for you. Harlan sneered. Ends justify. Hill's mine. But we had proof. Trails to his accounts. Cops swarmed. Arrest Liv tweeted. Schadenfreude viral. In the aftermath, catharsis. Kai's recovery party at the Haven. Balloons. Bad karaoke. Austin and I danced slow to Wonderwall. Kids cheering. That video, he murmured, nearly broke us. I nodded, cheek to his. But we mended stronger. Decision crystallized. Elope? No. Instead, a commitment ceremony. Backyard, mission style. Tacos, mariachi, vows handwritten. I choose you, I said, ring simple silver. Through regrets and rebuilds. His, in fog and fire my harbor. Fall waned, regrets ripening like late grapes. Mom visited the Haven, volunteering stories of her own youth. Bisexual curiosities shelved for Dad's sake. I failed you both, she confessed over chamomile. But watching you. Heels. Eliza returned, CEO full-throated, merging Hale with progressive arms. Green tech, inclusive hires. Our next move? Austin's graphic novel, Bridges Unburned. Our story stylized. Rejected Son, Artist's Heart, Empires Fall. It hit shelves November, indie buzz exploding. Signings in Brooklyn, panels at Comic-Con. Us, hand in hand, sharing the raw. Readers wept. Felt my dad's rejection in your words. Regret echoed back. Not ours, but theirs, the world's for silences kept. Winter solstice, rooftop under stars. Golden Gate a silhouette. Austin pulled a sketchpad. Future us, graying, kids, adopted, maybe, picnicking. Humanistic ending? He asked. I smiled, pulling him close. Ours. Full circle. In America's vast, fractured tapestry, we'd woven a thread, love as rebellion, regret as teacher. Dad's shadow lingered, but lighter, lesson learned. We walked down, city humming below, hearts sink to its beat. Unbroken. Unapologetic.